5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to the Rideshare Zone, where every ride matters. And now, here is your host, Shawn, the Colorado Rideshare Guy.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode number 27 of the Rideshare Zone. I'm your host, Shawn, the Colorado Rideshare Guy. You can find me on all the major socials at CO Ride Guy. That's CORIDEGUY. And for all you podcast listeners, look me up for the Rideshare Zone podcast on all the major streaming platforms. So anyway, got that out of the way. Welcome in, everyone. Holy smoke, we got a full house in the chat tonight. So let's get with this and see who all we got in here. We got Awesome Amy, Ben Guerrero. Welcome in, Ben. Traveler, good to see you again. Awesome Amy, we already said that. And Bubba Sue, welcome in. And Twin Pines Studio, Brian Kern is in the house. All right, we got a boatload. See, Sue, it pays to show up a couple minutes late. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, as you know, we always got to start off with a little bit of Waymo. Don't have a Waymo video tonight, but I do have some Waymo news. Some of this is a follow-up. One of these is a follow-up to what Steve was reporting on his podcast yesterday. We'll just jump into that one first, even though it was my second one. But so Waymo got an injunction against them in Santa Monica to stop disturbing the peace. Can you imagine that? The residents want to get sleep at night. They don't want to hear the vacuums. They don't want to hear the beeping and all the other crap that goes along. And the injunction is for both locations that they have their charging stations. This is kind of a big deal for Waymo because obviously they're not paying the same utility rates. Utility rates are cheaper typically in most jurisdictions at night. I've never seen one that it wasn't. So it's going to cost them less for charging. Frankly, it's going to put less of a burden on the infrastructure too. So I'm not sure if the city was really smart about saying this is the way to resolve this problem, but as a stopgap measure to let the citizens get some sleep, that probably is a good short-term fix, but they've got to come up with a better solution than making a whole bunch of noise. Now, I'm not sure if this is one of those where they have the diesel generators also at the charging stations. If so, then that's going to obviously add to and compound more noise with it. But Waymo has already filed an appeal and said, that's not acceptable. So apparently they just they don't care. They want to continue to disturb the peace. But right now they don't have a conference date until October 23rd. So then they can talk about the remediation measures and things like that. So Waymo's already in full force going after this, saying, we need leniency with our noisy little robot cars. So anyway, that's just a quick update is what's going on with that. Now, the next thing with Waymo, another version, a mixed version of other stories that we've heard, both in San Francisco and other places. We heard about how the Waymos were driving around and parking in Georgia and driving around that big the circle and all the problems with it. Well, now apparently their home turf in San Francisco, specifically San Bruno, which is right next door to San Francisco, but they're having a growing problem where got several growing problems. Number one, they've got Waymos that are just sitting there parking, and in some cases they're even blocking people's driveways. There's one case where people were trying to get in and out of their driveway, and the damn car was just still sitting there, wouldn't move anything. Apparently neighbors started coming out yelling at the car. Too bad there wasn't any video on that, at least anything I've seen. So if y'all find that video, somebody send it to me. We got to see that one. But one neighbor on a Sunday counted 29 Waymos just driving through this one little one-block area. It's 500 block of 7th Avenue. So it's just literally one block where they're getting clogged up by all these damn Waymos. And a lot of it's because the problem is Waymo doesn't have the ability to sit at the San Francisco airport. So I'm sure they think that they were going to just sneak in and sit around. And there's actually a city ordinance against vehicles for hire parking on residential locations. So this has obviously been a problem with probably taxis in the past, and then some ride shares, so on and so forth. So just ongoing perpetual problem. And if those things aren't enough, the damn Waymos, obviously they've taken this as an unofficial designated kind of waiting area. Damn Waymos are dropping people off that are supposed to go to the airport at this little area in San Bruno, 3 miles away from the airport, and about still 10 more minutes. One guy that they documented was on his way to Switzerland. So that's going to be a really expensive recovery for Waymo if he missed his flight. And of course, city councils got involved, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna meet with Waymo and blah 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 and this and that." And then of course Waymo's responded, not saying that they're going to come to this meeting with city council. It says Waymo spokesperson said the company was able to resolve the immediate issue thanks to rider feedback submitted through the app and outreach to rider support. Yeah, holy hell, I'm not at the freaking airport. I'm in somebody's damn neighborhood. You think you should probably fix that immediately, Waymo? There was, let's see, and this is just one citizen report, and we don't have it well documented, so they could be exaggerating, but let's see here. I was trying to see. We talked about the 29 Waymos sitting around there. I thought there might have been a number of passengers that at least these residents knew about. But anyway, there were several of them in this report, and you can see the link. Again, post the links on my Patreon. So if anybody's interested in downloading the document and looking through those and seeing this entire article, but I'm sure it's going to happen again, and we'll just be reporting on it again about what's going on with the silliness with Waymo. So anyway, let's hop over to the chat here before we keep. I think we're done bashing on Waymo for tonight. I think they've. Again, it's nothing new, but when is it going to stop, Waymo? When are you going to fix these things? They don't want to fix them, and they don't care. I mean, Alphabet says, yeah, you know what? You're earning your keep. You're breaking even right now. That's exceeding our expectations. So, if we got to throw money for goodwill to offer you 5 rides like they offered the dude that was in the car that was getting vandalized, they offer him 5 free rides. So, what's another 5 free rides for another 50 passengers that missed their flights to frickin' Switzerland or wherever the hell? Who cares if they were just going to LA? I missed a damn flight. That is a huge burden. So, anyway, okay. Done with Waymo. Let's go see what's going on in the chat, y'all. All right, I'll go up here. See what we got going on. Anything? I don't know, something about 3 tablespoons. We're talking about dinner. Bubba Sue had cereal tonight. Outstanding. 8:02 right on time. Yeah, thanks, Sue. But had to wait for all y'all to show up. But all right. We have Toyo is in the house. Didn't miss you before. How you doing? Rideshare Rodeo. What is up, Steve? How you doing, brother? And let us see. Meridian Heights. Welcome in. So read that FSD vehicles are driving people 70 million miles a day. That's got to be completely exaggerated. Where did you see that, Meridian? Send me that article. If you're on Steve's Discord, you can send it to me over there, or drop it on Steve's Discord so we can all see it. I have a Discord, but it's not really active, so I'd tell you to put it there where some other people can get to it. Let's see. Maybe it was per week. That's probably, I think it's still exaggerated, but that's probably, I think they are doing a lot of rides at this point, but it's not that many per week. Maybe per month even, but I don't know. We'll have to look into that one a little bit further. But yeah, if you can find that article, send it over to us. That'd be awesome. You can take a Waymo from LA to Switzerland. Yes, Steve. Yes, you can. You missed the episode about the new time travel portals. So send some people to school, give them books, and all they want to do is eat the books. Steve was that guy. He didn't eat glue. He just ate the books. Waymo fix them when the VTOLs fly. They will. They'll get them to, they'll fly them to where they need to go. So see, that'll be another problem solved that humans can't solve. So, we'll use one robot to fix another robot's problems. What is up, Torp? How you doing, my brother? And let's see here. Just what I need. 5 rides, I'll be out of the country. Yeah, exactly. You'll be out of the country in Switzerland where they don't have Waymo. There was that guy that I reported on where Waymo took off with his luggage. I think, where was he going? Like Singapore or Korea or something. I know he's an Asian guy, so maybe I'm just stereotyping, but I know he was going out of the country too, and he and his damn luggage had to fight with him for that. So, all right. No, I don't need any help with Discord, Steve. I don't push it because I'm not, there's 2 Discords that I'm on, and I'm just passively kind of on them. I pay attention, and only when I get my notifications, and it's yours, and then Sergio's trading desk one. Those are the only 2 Discords that I participate in. So, but I have mine, like I said, mostly just to make sure that it's put there. So, if there was a reason to be active on it, I would certainly do it. But see, Torp's never even been on Discord. What are you missing? Well, you go sign up for Steve's Discord, and you can find out. A lot of people post a lot of different articles about what's going on in the rideshare and gig world. So, I mean, it's kind of cool. It gives people a place to kind of throw some of that stuff out there. So Meridian says, I just Googled it, and it says 100,000 miles per day. So, there you go. That's what the Google says. The Google wouldn't exaggerate what one of their sister companies, Waymo, is doing. Torp says he's with me. I don't worry about Discord, but maybe I'm missing out. I think it's a great place to collaborate, and just and get some additional information that we don't get on the, that Steve and I don't discuss. There's a lot of topics on there that end up there that neither of us that discuss, and it's not because they're not newsworthy or noteworthy. It's just we run out of topics that we have to talk about. I mean, it was like today, Sergio was flying solo and he was having people on, and a couple of people were like, "Oh, you should go on." And I'm like, "Number one, I'm trying to get ready for this one because I gotta cull the herd and figure out what's going on." And Sergio was having fun, and it was an interesting show. I know there were several of you that were in there, and But yeah, Chris wasn't in for the rideshare guy, so Sergio was flying solo today. So it was kind of an interesting episode. Anyway, so this next one, I've got to kind of put a little bit of a warning with, because this is shocking and heartbreaking. I have a video I'm going to show. Hopefully the audio works. When the audio starts, until you see the body cam footage, there is no audio. It's just narrative stuff. So I'll narrate it for the podcast people. And then probably going to chop this up and put it in there, because guys, this is the worst nightmare to happen that you could possibly imagine as a parent that's probably struggling to just make ends meet, and you have to take your kid with you doing Instacart. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this is heartbreaking. It'll piss you off, and a whole bunch of other things. And pay attention to the video and what goes on in the video, particularly when they get to the suspect. And that's all I'm gonna lead with right now. And we're gonna jump into this video now. Hopefully the audio works with it. We'll keep our fingers crossed, guys. So this is from the City of Atlanta Police Department, July 30th, 2026, 4:36. Atlanta Police Zone 5 officers responded to a report of a vehicle and kidnapping at 930 Spring Street Northwest.
Atlanta 911 operator 9386. What is the location of your emergency?
I'm at what 930 Spring Street. Someone just stole my car, and it has my 2-year-old daughter in it.
You said your daughter's inside the vehicle?
Yes, my 2-year-old daughter was in the back seat. I was dropping off an Instacart order, and I came back outside, and so my car is gone, and my daughter was inside.
Okay, let's see.
Officers assigned to the Auto Crimes Enforcement immediately began using license plate readers that were in the city and located the vehicle in under 15 minutes.
Hey, hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Yo! Don't move! Don't move!
All units copy 6-7.
Hands on the window now! What you gonna do is you're gonna get out and you're gonna face away from me, you understand me? Get out the car, slow.
Point it down, point.
Put your hands behind your back. It's okay, baby, it's okay. It's okay, baby. You got him?
One to turn, don't blame me.
The weapons on you?
The child is okay. The child is okay.
So the child was found unharmed and was reunited with her parents. And we got this piece of crap here. 21-year-old Salim Martin was a suspect. He was charged with kidnapping, theft by taking, simple battery, entering automobile, cruelty to children, and one other charge that I missed on the dialogue here. So that guy's, yeah, we can judge her for leaving the car running, and yeah, should she, well, it's hot. She's delivering Instacart. It's Atlanta, for God's sakes. Should you ever leave a car running alone in that area? No. But it's called Hotlanta for a freaking reason. She took a calculated risk, and she rolled the dice, and the worst thing in the freaking world, the second worst thing in the world, happened to her. Is her child was taken. And oh my God, I just couldn't freaking imagine. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I would never be a cop, because that guy, when they pulled him out of the back seat of the car where the child was, I'm sorry, I played judge, jury, and hangman all at the same freaking time on that dude. God bless those officers for just doing their job. And so one other piece of this in the news report is that the report, you saw that there was kind of the child abuse that the guy had, the officers, it was reported that he had his hands on the torso of the child, and also that the mom later reported that that some of the buttons on the child's clothing was unbuttoned. So done with that, guys. Please, this is really, really tough because we can criticize the hell out of what she did wrong, but this is the kind of things that people are having to do to try and make ends meet because shit sucks. And I'm going to reserve my judgment for her because desperate people do desperate things, and we don't know how desperate this lady was. She was out there just trying to make an honest living instead of going out to Walmart and stealing all the food and everything. So we got to reserve judgment a little bit on some of this stuff, and I know I can be very critical. And maybe it's the whole thing with the kid thing, because I do get really soft when it comes to bad things that happen to kids, and thank God. And I hate flock cameras. I hate everything freaking about them. I think it's government overreach at its finest. But damn it, at least they used them for an appropriate use this time. So again, I'm not going to, thank God they were there, because that strictly is why they were able to get to that kid that quickly. So sometimes evil things can do good things, and this is a perfect example. And even for you people that hate cops, I'm a strong advocate for law enforcement, the good cops out there, and there's more good ones than bad ones. It's always the bad ones that get the highlights. So, So even those of you that don't like cops, you know what? Thank God there were cops there to deal with this situation. So anyway, yeah, guys, please think about the potential things that could happen, and that's why we talk about these. And this one, is just extra tough, at least for me to talk about. And hopefully that is just a kind of a wake-up call for anybody that might make some bad decisions, just like we talk about the regular carjackings that happen, or the car thefts when people are doing delivery order. This is one that almost that went to the second worst thing that could happen. So anyway, enough of that one. Whew. So Awesome Amy says, directly to the wood chipper. Yeah, exactly. Rideshare Rodeo says he loves cops, hates that mom. Yeah, I know, man. It's hard not to be mad at her, but we know people are doing what they can to survive right now. So I think she's probably her own worst enemy at this point. So Torp says, anybody besides me sharing this live? Am I getting a review here, Torp? What's up, Torp people? How y'all doing? If you are, I think you mean just sharing it out. I appreciate that, Torp. But yeah, anybody you bring in, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you, and even I appreciate the effort. And when it comes to kids, I have no mercy, period. Absolutely, Amy, and Steve agrees with you on that. And Bubba Sue. I don't think there's anybody in the house that's going to disagree with that one. So anyway, that was just freaking crazy, guys. I hope we don't have any more of those this year to report, but unfortunately, statistics show that we're probably going to have similar things. But thank God that kid is still alive, is all I can say. So, all right. How much? Steve talked about this last night, so a lot of you already in here already know the answer to this one. But how much do you make with a dot that stole my work? So for those of you doing DoorDash, and now you get this little, oh, go to so-and-so restaurant for $5. Yep, $5 to go load up that little son of a bitch that stole your job. So it can go deliver it down the road. In this case, Steve and I think must saw the same article. Is talking about a quarter of a mile down the road. Somebody got paid $5 to put the whatever it was. I think it was a restaurant. Put stuff in the overgrown baby stroller, the RC baby stroller. That's what those dots look like to me. And then goes driving down the road, drops it off. But guess what? There is no option of leave at door with DoorDash dots, because that thing can't go up the stairs and then take its little picture that it left the food. There's a lot of shortcomings with these dots, guys. But people who use DoorDash and use those dots, guess what? You're still paying the same amount to get your crap delivered. And you now have to go out and get it. So the little experiment that Steve and I have been doing for the last 2 weeks, call it an experiment, just, had some fun with it, but wanted to it was demonstration, I guess. We'll show the reality of what we saw on a Thursday night and on a Saturday night. He's in Denver, I'm in Colorado Springs, ran for the same 2-hour period. We ended up making about the same amount of money and going around the same mileage. If you guys didn't see that, you need to go back and watch the replay on my live on Saturday. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, at least go to the last probably 15 minutes or whatever, where we're running out of time. It's probably 20 minutes, but we're running out of time. It died off, and I end up taking a catering order from Chili's for $2.75 and just watch shit go wrong. It's everything bad that you could see happen on a $2.75 order, other than my car getting, because I stayed in it, but ended up in a very bad neighborhood. Anyway, go watch that if you didn't see it. Like I said, if you just not even inclined to watch that whole episode of a shit show, which it was, but it was fun. Go watch the last 20 minutes. Find out where I'm sitting in the parking lot talking to everybody, saying should I take the very next order, and that was what there was one that I should have took that I thought was worse, but it would have been much better than this one that I ended up taking. So anyway, so yeah, so back to this dot thing. So that's what they're offering Dashers to be there, to do a task. They've now taken, well, even though they're calling them tasks, they're taking work from these people and now deducing it down to a task and say, well, go to this restaurant, we'll give you $5. Is it even worth the $5 to go there? I mean, I suppose if you're sitting in the parking lot and there's a bunch of restaurants around, you get one in that restaurant parking lot for $5. But how many $5 load dot orders do you need to do a day to make a living wage? So this is again another example where living wages are dying off in the traditional gig economy. Okay, there is money to be made, but you can't do it just doing DoorDash. You can't do it just doing Uber Eats. You can't do it just doing DoorDash and Uber Eats. You can't hardly do it doing rideshare anymore because of everybody is trying to. They're flocking to all the gig work. So you got to get smart and step away from the gig work that is the traditional stuff. Listen to the things that, particularly Steve, you want some master tips of places to start going and start supplementing your income. Start looking out, expanding beyond that. Ben, he stepped out of a lot of the stuff that he was doing. Talking about Ben, that's in here, and he started doing some other contract work, and he's happier than a pig in poop and doesn't care what happens with the situation in his rideshare world. And in fact, so you guys have heard me all alluding, and I know Ben doesn't even care at this point, so I'm going to tip my hat to it because it's also going to force me to do what I need to do. But you've heard me talking about a driver that I've had a lot of contact with that he got deactivated by DoorDash, or not DoorDash, Lyft, and then isn't eligible to drive for Uber because of this deactivation. It was over a procedural thing. Well, this is Ben, and CIDU is still not taking care of him. So, you know what, Ben, hold me accountable, dude. Make sure that I am getting a hold of CIDU next week, and if it doesn't work, we're gonna just start blasting him. We'll get Steve to do it. We'll get a hold of Sergio. If they want to ignore us, we'll get a hold of Sergio. We'll all start blasting them and making CIDU accountable. They're making a whole hell of a lot of money off of the drivers, off of the state, because their contract is supposed to represent drivers. So, you know what? But the silver lining in all this is that Ben found better work. So he doesn't give a damn, frankly, I'm guessing at this point, if he even gets reactivated by Uber and Lyft. But this is also principle because CIDU is not doing their job. It's principle because Lyft deactivated him over a clerical error, and all of these things they need to be held accountable for. So this goes beyond, somebody who's bleeding at the gills, because for every Ben, there's 100 other people that are in the same situation, but they are bleeding at the gills because they don't have any other income and they rely on this gig work. But anyway, guys, look for other gig work opportunities that are out there and other contract work opportunities. If you don't want a 1099 or your time is limited, you have to have that flexibility, whatever that reason is, I don't care. Just make wise choices about what you're doing with your time. Sitting in a parking lot waiting for that banger is never gonna yield the fruit that it did. We're beyond those days. It's not going to do it for food delivery, traditional food delivery. It's not going to do it for rideshare. When it dies, you should be doing something else with your time, productive. So, all right, let's go to the chat and see what we got going on here. We got a lot of chat going on. I apologize if you all hear the sirens outside. I have my window open in the studio here. All right, let's see here. Gigwise, what's up, Tim? You have to run and do a late catering order now. Hi, Tim. Bye, Tim. Catch you on the replay. Go enjoy that late catering order. See? Tim's got it figured out. That's a perfect segue from what the discussion going over to the chat here. All right. We got, it says he saw a Waymo minivan today. So that was the OJOI, two Waymo drivers with a yellow vest in the front seat. So yeah, they're mapping and doing the evaluations. Which is kind of funny because they'll let Chinese cars drive around and map in the United States, but they won't let Chinese drones or let you have a Chinese router. Frankly, every device we have has a Chinese component in it. So, that there's the potential for surveillance if done nefariously. Not every device, but a lot of devices. So, just a side note, I'm just a curious guy with curious questions, and sometimes I get off the rails of gig work, and that was one of them. So anyway, yeah, the OJI vehicles, they're Chinese made, but have a Korean name to them. OJI is Korean for, I forgot what the hell it was. Not Korean. So, all right. $110,000 baby stroller, says Steve. Yep, that's exactly it, dude. I thought restaurant was responsible for putting food in the dots. Well, you would think so, Sue. But apparently, they may have a contract that they're stuck in, and maybe some of these restaurants are pushing back on. That's not part of my contract. Is part of my contract ends at me making the food and put it in a bag, and for the delivery driver to come and get it. So it's a great question, though. So I don't know, but that's what they got going on. At least I think it was in Phoenix, somewhere in Arizona, if I remember correctly. So, Shawn or Jay, welcome in. How you doing? Let's see here. I have a video response for Dino tonight. I hope we're still friends. Well, be nice, or don't do a video response if you want to be. Don't do a mean video response if you still want to be friends with somebody. I don't know. I'm not a freaking therapist. I give really bad advice. You guys have heard me long enough. Let's see here. What else we got? Okay, Steve is spying on people on Colfax doing things with McDonald's bags. No, I did not, at least yet, but Sue, I did not get a contract violation on the $2.75 order that I know that's what she's referring to. And I mean, if they did, they'd be in a whole lot of a pickle, because I have dash cam footage of me sitting in that parking lot, and all the audio is recorded with it. And then I have, of course, the live stream audio, and y'all heard what happened there. So, good luck on that one sticking. And I mean, I've had DoorDash tell me I got a contract violation over stupid crap that, not let alone stupid crap that was caused by their AI chatbot. So anyway, let's see. If anybody did sue Shawn, zero filter on her. She's good people. Let's see. For ringing the doorbell when asked not to. No, that's not the one, Brian, but I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I was gonna say, Steve, that's you that lives in the hood. I live in just a working man's neighborhood. He ate those burritos with a smile. No, I didn't get a contract violation for eating burritos. Let's see here. Colorado is the hood. Hey, you may wonder if it is once we get a little further down, Torp. So stick around for what I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. When is that one coming up? 2 more. So we got one coming up about Uber, and then the one about how dangerous is Colorado, and we'll talk about that a little bit, and maybe it's high on the list, maybe it's low on the list. We'll find out, but Colorado's on this list. All right. I did. Bubba Sue did rideshare the past 2 weeks. So how was your experience, Bubba Sue? You got to tell us about that. Because I know you typically don't do rideshare. And what prompted you to do rideshare? Did I influence you to make you think it's great? Because I don't like peopling in the summer when it gets too hot, because people have to work too hard at it. Does that make any sense? Because they're not working at it at all to people. So I have to counteract stuff. I picked up somebody yesterday, so quick story time. Picked up this young gal yesterday and her mom, and it took a little longer than I'm patient for, but whatever, that's on me. That's part of my problem. But whatever. So I was just kind of agitated. I wasn't mad. They come in, get in. I'm like, hey, how you guys doing today? And it was just very quiet and kind of curt. I'm fine, thank you. Just kind of that. Whatever. So I got to take this drive all the way across town. It was about 10 miles. And not a word was said between them. And they were sitting like as far on edges of the doors as they could away from one another. So I'm like, well, somebody had a little dispute or something before I picked them up. Whatever. So I'm just sitting there, bebopping along, driving down the road, thinking to myself, singing to myself, la la la. Finally get there, and I pull into the parking lot, and I pull into the parking lot where it's a U shape, and I pulled in the first one instead of the second one. The second one was actually closer to the door, but it didn't put the passenger out on the proper side. I always try and put the rear passenger door closest to wherever their drop off is, both as a courtesy, and number two, I like my freaking doors, so I run less of a risk of getting someone swinging open a door. Tell the gal behind me, say, hey, I was going to, didn't even get that chance, because I always do this. People that are sitting behind me, hey, be careful, either getting out or, hey, would you mind, exiting on the other side just for your safety. I didn't even get that chance. I start pulling the parking lot. Lady's like, I'm already 10 minutes late. Just stop here. And I'm like, ma'am, I can drive. I told you, just stop here. Okay, fine. You have a wonderful freaking day. And she gets out, slams the door. The poor girl, she had a young person's name, so I knew that she was the account holder. And she just sat there in the car for a second. And I'm like, don't worry, I'm not going to give you a bad rating. She was already a 4.96, I think it was. So she's kind of getting borderline there already. And I said, don't worry, I'm not going to give you a bad rating. I'm sorry, that you're having a bad morning. Hopefully it gets better. And she's like, thank you. I'm so sorry. She's always like that, blah, blah, blah. Well, ironically, I got a ride for her this morning, and she was solo this time. And then come find out it was her mom. Her mom's elderly and acts entitled, I guess, to a lot of people. She was telling me these stories about the McDonald's, about how she was with the person at McDonald's. She just pops off. So I was really nice to her. She was actually one of the nicest rides I've had in probably a month. And she's going through a lot of stuff. And so, again, I chose to actually show a little bit of grace because, believe me, I wanted to pop off on mom, but I didn't, because I knew it was just going to compound things. So I actually took the high road. So you guys might want to mark that on your calendars, because I made it, it was all the way to August, but I finally took the high road. Did I get an Uber Gold Star for it? Hell no. But anyway, use a little compassion sometimes with people, but don't take crap from people either, on the other hand. So anyway, cool young gal. Wish her the best success, and hopefully she can learn patience with that lady that feels like she's raising now that should have been raising her. But anyway, so just kind of an interesting story. So there. Sure you still want to keep doing rideshare, Bubba Sue? You had a quest you couldn't pass up. They caught you on that. Okay, well that makes it. I have not seen a quest since I started doing rideshare again. Period. Nope, no quest for this guy. I'll get these stupid little lift freaking things where it's just every time I get one of these little lift, do 33,000 rides this week and we'll give you $15. I just know it's always going to be a crap week because everybody comes out of the word work. And this isn't a knock on you, Sue, but this is what happens with it is exactly that. They bait people in with them, and I go, yeah, it's going to be the market's going to be oversaturated. People are going to be, running and trying to get those quests in before they got to go to work, or I don't remember what Lyft calls them, but I just get annoyed with them and ignore them. So it's one where you can choose the number of rides that you have. So did you make your quest is what I want to know while we're continuing to go through the chat here and go through things. So let's see here. I see something about a birthday card, so I got to go back here. Let's see. Now we're talking about Torp and brewing beer or something. That's why I keep saying, "Oh, holy crap! You guys are busy in the chat. Keep it going." And let's see. There we go. We're up to the video response. And Steve, is there a filter? Colorado's on the hood. Sue's been. Now, Brian, come on now. Let's see. So, have you been liking it, Sue? That's the question that we want to know, Steve, is did she enjoy it? Let's see. So, I think nope is that no, she didn't enjoy it. So, I want to know also, did you make your quest? Sue would love to see the footage of you doing rideshare. For real, no joke, says Torp. Yes, but I like the money. Yeah, the money is better than most of the food delivery stuff, but it can certainly try your patience way worse than a tub of butter. Torp, Sue, you need me as a passenger. Torp, bro, I had a passenger that reminded me of you on Sunday morning. I had two passengers, but they were together, and man, this gal was hungover, no freaking filter. I was gonna pull the dash cam footage. She was just like, and I said, I should just. I said, this is one of the funniest rides and most fun rides I've had recently. I said, I should just pull the footage. And she's like, I don't care. Go ahead. And guy that was with her, he's like, yeah, go for it. They were like cousins or something. And that's what they said. I don't know. And now they're really cool people and had a great ride with them. But this gal had no filter. She just she's like, got done. She's like, I'm not doing well. I was like, truer words could not be told, I believe. She just was like, she was done. They were going to pick up a car. Could you imagine that? So, anyway. Sue and Torp ride along live. Yeah, I want to see how long Sue would put up with Torp's crap, though. I mean, I think they'd have fun. But, he might get a little too obnoxious for her, and she might just leave his butt out on the curb. Sue, don't leave Torp out on the highway. We've heard enough of those bad highway stories. Take him to a safe location. Take him to Wawa or something, whatever, y'all got Wawas out? I think you all got Wawas in Jersey, but just drop him off at a gas station. Make sure he's, got some snacks and go from there. But that'd be a fun and interesting ride along show. I'd tune in I'd pay $1 for that. So let's see here. Looks like Steve is making a Pilsner right now currently. So you and Torp, I guess, have to start a beer podcast. I should think about having a guest, Shawn. So who should I have on as a guest? I thought about doing guests, but then, anyway, I had Steve on as a guest. I'd have Torp on. I'll have Torp. I'll have you on as a guest, but, we got to just put. Yeah, I'd have you on as a guest with just 2 small butts. But other than that, and I think you'd be all right with it. Well, 3. I don't want to mention your buddy's name, but yeah, we could talk about your experience with gig economy. I could interview you and figure out what all you, why you do it. Who wants me to do an interview with Torp like I did with Steve? The who's and what's, and find out what makes Torp tick. We could do that. Let's see. We're here. I was going to say it's been a while. Rodeo sent Torp a birthday card. Happy belated birthday, brother. Won't talk to me that Shawn will in. You gotta speak English, Steve, if you're gonna. I don't read whatever whatever kind of Detroit 8-mile whatever you got going on in that chat message. I don't know. All right, let's see here. I know I'm way behind on the chat, guys. I feel like Sergio was today. Sergio was behind on the chat his whole time, but Rodeo has the birthday cards. Let's see. Reading Radio's birthday Torp. I make the dopest. You made 10 gallons of beer? Holy crap, Steve. Hey, Torp, what's that soda you can only get in Kentucky? I want some of that. It's 8008. What is that soda, Torp? You know which one I'm talking about. I want some of that soda. Never do rideshare. It's okay, Torp. Rideshare ain't for everybody, and it's not for me some days, believe me. Thank goodness I have other stuff to make things work, because sometimes me ain't for it either. It ain't for me, and me ain't for it. 30 rides, $200 on. So you got a $200 kicker for 30 rides, 10 rides, $170 on Uber. So you took the 10 for $170, I assume. Gas station sushi and beer for Torp. Wow. Hopefully your gas station sushi is better than our grocery store sushi. Scratch the gas and sushi. Well, apparently Torp does not want any gas station sushi, Toyo. Sorry, bro. Let's see. Test Torp's tick. Detroit lifer. Yeah. Moonshine. See, now we're talking my roots. Anyway, it's soda. It's soda, Amy. It is not pop. I'm a pop. I don't drink me. I drink soda. I'd even have a Coke in various flavors. Ale 81. That's the one. Amy knows what it is. Torp's apparently ignoring me, but Amy knows. Yeah, that's the one. Toyo says, maybe I'm drinking too much. Soda has ice cream in it. Oh, jeez. No, it doesn't. That's a float. Apple pie is my kryptonite, says Brian. Some good apple pie, not that garbage that you get from over the counter. But yeah, you can get some homemade apple pie. You ain't wrong, Brian. Especially you got to get cinnamon sticks in there. Ah, jeez. All you East Coasters, go. It's soda. Soda. Soda, don't you know? Yeah, bud. I just started. Yeah, there we go. There's a soda. Thank you, Toyo. Ah, thought I was on an island all by myself. Don't do you dirty. Hey, I want some of the Ale 810 or whatever the hell that. I never remember the name of it, but I know it when I see it. Dr. McGillicuddy. Oh yeah, Brian. I'm a pop, Steve. I ain't a soda. Soda pop compromise, says Traveler. Okay, Traveler, I'll take that. You get half credit on that, but you don't get you're wrong. And soda came first, so actually I'll give you 3/4. Okay, actually I'll just give you credit for it. You can come onto my island. We'll take soda pop. You schedule Shawn, I'll find a way to be there. Well, let's talk about it. Go find send me an email. I gave you my email address before. Let's see. St. Brian, I know. All you East Coast people. Hoagies and grinders. Hoagies and grinders. Hoagies and grinders. Right. We've got so freaking derailed tonight. All the podcast people that tune in strictly for ride sharing gig work, well, I don't apologize because we have fun doing this, and sometimes it's okay to get derailed. But let's get back on track here for a little bit. So Uber is facing a wrongful death lawsuit. So there was a gal, Leah Karahi. I shouldn't even try to pronounce it, but anyway, Kahare, 29. She was struck and killed by an Uber Eats driver in Lowell, Massachusetts, in May 24th, 2026. So, and apparently it was a high speed collision, is the way it was described. But the lawsuit, they're bringing claims of, and they're suing both the driver and Uber for this, but they're putting claims of negligence, gross negligence, wrongful death, probably because of the high speed thing, assuming based on this that she was at least allegedly speeding, and claims of negligent hiring. Claims of negligent hiring. and retention, training, and supervision, gross negligence, and wrongful death against Uber Technologies and Portier, the driver, seeking compensatory and punitive damages. So, of course, then they have the story about what a wonderful girl this person was. And I'm sure she was. It's very tragic to the family. The lawsuit also claims that Uber puts drivers on the roads at all hours and in all conditions, and profits from every delivery. And then when that system results in the death of an innocent pedestrian, those responsible must answer for the harm they caused. So they're saying Uber's is responsible for this. Some of this stuff feels like that they're making some assumptions that this person was a employee, not a contractor, the way it was written and described. And do I think Uber has some culpability in this? I don't know. I can't tell you from just this article. I mean, they certainly paint a picture that makes it look like Uber's culpable. But again, when you're in a contractor situation, that's what happens. And Uber and Lyft still trying to squeeze their way out of about having liability with it. That's still going on in the House and Senate. So for those of you that are still curious, we need to talk about that again, because people are already forgetting about this one. And this is, if Uber gets what they want, Uber and Lyft and DoorDash and all the rest of them, where they don't have to have the insurance coverage, they don't have to, and they're not culpable unless there was gross negligence, and proving gross negligence is really tough. But in a civil court's different than criminal court. Criminal court, you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Civil court, you just have to prove that there, reasonably that there was, and then there's the potential for compensation and punitive and other punitive damages. I don't know what kind of punitive damages they want. They want Uber to restrict how long they're doing delivery. And speaking of how long they do delivery, they should restrict more. And I know this is going to piss off a lot of drivers for food delivery and rideshare and other gig work, but there really does need to be some limitations on the hours that a driver is allowed to drive without having a resting period. And state of Colorado, I think it's 12, 13. Which one is it, Steve? I don't remember. But anyway, I think it should be reduced to 10 hours. Because frankly, but it doesn't matter anyway, because there's no way to police. If I do 10 hours on Lyft and then I go do another 10 hours on Uber, or if stopping the timer on the apps stops the time. So there's got to be a better system and component for that if we really want to make these safer for passengers and for the public, for the gig workers. And guys, I'm just being honest about that, because y'all know those gig workers. We see them come in on the chat here, and they're saying they're working 16 hours a day, and we know there's ones that are doing more than that. And that's not just dangerous for you, but that's dangerous for everyone. When you don't get a good night's rest, you're not as alert as you should be. And so that's just the truth in it, guys. Do I like being limited by government? Absolutely not. But there's so many people abusing a system, and a lot of that has to do with the number of hours that people are working, because they're seeing this as the only way to make things work. Then they're compromising their safety and the safety of people in the public, and that's the end of it. And so I think that's probably might be part of their part of their argument is maybe this driver was working a lot of extra hours, multi-happing. There's a million different things that you can do to kind of create confusion and stuff with the jury. So we'll see where this one ends up going on, and we'll go from there. And Steve says, "Man up, Torp." I assume that means about doing some rideshare. Yeah, I think the world without Torp doing rideshare, I mean, it's already oversaturated, Torp. So yeah, but Torp, if you didn't see the episode on Saturday with Steve and I, you need to go see the end of it. This is why I don't like those $2 hot dog orders. This was a bigger order than a hot dog order. So, but you can drive Uber in 10 hours, turn off Uber, get coffee, turn your app back on, and do 10 more hours. Right. And then you have like the co-op driver, Colorado Drivers Co-op. They claim that, but I've left the app on for when I was with them. I left the app on for days and it never timed me out. So they're not even in compliance with state law with that, but it doesn't matter because, they'll just get their little buddy Jenny to give them a waiver where they don't have to comply with the laws that all the rest of them do. But anyway, that's right. $275 big catering order in the hood. Toyo was there for that one. Brian, they're delish. What are we missing here? Now we're going back to food chat. Now we're going to keep going on. Y'all keep enjoying your conversation, and I appreciate your participation. And anyway, Shawn, let's get you monetized so we can buy you a beer. I appreciate that, bro. I'm going to be a little ways from getting monetized. I'm still like, even though, what am I, about I think I was 228 or whatever for subs. I'm still only like a third of the way there for watch hours. So I still got a way to go. And I know as I get closer, it'll catch up quicker. That's just how the math. So, but I'm here just to talk about safety things and stuff like that, Torp, so I appreciate that, brother. I mean, of course, yeah, would be great to offset a little bit and be able to buy me a beer, buy me a whiskey for doing all this. Sure, I would love that. I'm not going to lie. But my main initiative and objective is to create awareness about all the safety issues, and that hasn't wavered, and it's not going to waver. So if I never make it, so be it. We're going to still be here delivering episodes and talking about the important things, and then having fun on the sidelines while we're at it. And that delivery, you need a bear mace, taser, rope, knife, and lime, and other things. You miss it. You missed a shovel too, Steve, by the way. But yeah, that delivery that didn't happen was sketch. And speaking of sketch, and Torp, your comment, I think it was Torp. Who was it that made comment about is Colorado hood? So now I'm going to go ahead and warn everyone that the company that did the data collection on this is called AutoDS. Now, they are a drop shipping automation tool for people that do drop shipping. Now, they collect a whole lot of data because, like everybody, data is king. So it doesn't mean this is an inaccurate report, but and they do quantify and they reveal a little bit about it. But I couldn't find this study. It was only released to the media. So, and I couldn't find one of them that was reported that it was sent to in Colorado that did a report on them, so I could contact them and see if I could get the report. And I just found this one today, so I didn't have time to contact them and see if I get the study. I'm actually going to do that. See if we can get the study and release it once they've got their mileage out of it. Because what they're doing is trying to direct traffic to their website to get people to sign up for the drop shipping tools that they have for people that do drop shipping. So, and it's one of the legitimate ones. It's not the Russian scams and things like that. Hello, Belarus. Since you're watching from Russia, if you're watching from Russia, since you're the only one that can watch us in Russia. But anyway, what state do you? I should have before I started monologuing here asked everybody to tell me what state they think was the top state, and because this one kind of surprised me, but it didn't in the same token. But Steve says if I had a data research company, I'd call it Nothing to See Here. That'd be like naming your Wi-Fi network FBI van, right? So I used to have a Wi-Fi network. As a complete, again, hey, I saw a squirrel moment. I used to have a Wi-Fi network that I named You Got Hacked. And it was really great because I had an open one too. I had a guest one, and my kids, when they get off the school bus, because it would broadcast that far because we're on a rural area, so I want to make sure I had a lot of range with it, but it went out all the way out to the road, even though we're a good look from the road, that occasionally kids on the bus would see the Wi-Fi pop up and would freak out a little bit about it because, middle school and elementary school kids are. Anyway, most dangerous city, Mississippi. Next, Missouri. Number 3, ready for it? Colorado. According to the study, the most dangerous states for delivery drivers, according to the 2026 data, the AutoDS, their danger index study, as it's called, put those 3 states in the top. So let's go in here a little bit. And New Mexico is ranked number 9, Texas number 11, Utah number 29. Again, I had to pull these from different sources since there wasn't any report available, and aggregate all this. So it evaluated states based on road deaths per 100 million vehicle miles traveled. So this is probably a little more accurate than a Waymo statistic. Dog attacks, vehicle thefts, and mean commute times. Now for Colorado is, I think, number 2 in the country to California. At least it used to be, in auto theft. So I think it could be skewed a little bit about that. And okay, dog attacks, yeah, that's legitimate, but I mean, what about just plain old carjacking and, like we saw tonight, and other violent crimes and things that happen to delivery workers? So I'm not sure that this is the thing with these, and that's why I try and always give a little background of what's going on. It might sound a little boring, but to give everybody the real picture of what's surrounding these statistics, so we're not sounding like Waymo and going, Colorado's the worst place to be doing delivery work. Y'all should be wearing bulletproof vests and carrying 4 cans of bear mace, not just one like Steve does. So want to dig into these and give you guys an accurate picture of what's going on with this. So Mississippi earned a danger index score of .82, and then a final score of 100. But it was actually below the average vehicle theft rate of 184.5 per 100,000 residents. So they do go into some detail, and there might be some interesting stuff we can extract out of this and find it. So Mississippi has the fatality rate in traffic accidents was another one, and that was one of the major precipitators of why they scored so high. So they had a 8.81 road deaths per 1.81 road deaths per 100 vehicle miles traveled. So that one right there was the biggest reason that Mississippi scored so high. Now, we'll skip Missouri, unless you want to hear about Missouri, but Colorado followed in third place with 92.4. Okay. The state had 652.1 vehicle thefts per 100,000 residents. So just like I was saying, being with the high auto theft, second highest rate on the list, and I bet you California is the other one. So that supports the facts that I know, and I'll just say I used to be where I would know about the Colorado auto theft rates and why they're so high and so on and so forth with other things like that. So they also had 1.75 dog attacks per 100,000 residents, which is also not surprising because Colorado is probably the most dog-friendly state I know of. I mean, they don't even care. You don't even have to play the service animal game for your illegitimate service animal. A lot of people do, but you can go walk into any Walmart, Home Depot, hell, Target, and somebody's got their purse puppy, because Colorado is such a dog-friendly state, which means that there's more dog. And again, so how many dogs are there per capita? I think you're going to find that's a lot higher. So by virtue of that, you're going to get more dog bites, of course. So I think that one's just slightly skewed with that. And the road death rate of 1.25, which Colorado has some really stupid high-speed driving accidents that result in fatalities that are just completely ridiculous. Now, the thing is, what also kind of drops that is that Colorado's the means of commute is 25.7 minutes, which falls below the national average. So, where they commute to work or commute, so the average commute time is 25.7, which is way higher than it used to be. But again, Colorado's a lot more populated than it used to be. So, Torp, whoever it was that asked that, Colorado's the third most dangerous place to do delivery work, according to the survey. So, we can save this one for Thursday. If we want to talk about it, it's not that big of a deal. Actually, I'll just cover it real quick because it's not that big of a deal. But DoorDash is continuing to expand its drone program. They now have their Part 135 certification from the FAA. So now they're going to start their own. They've been subcontracting it, but they're going to start their own in-house drone delivery program. So they're going to have dots run you over on the street, drones dropping shit on your head from above, and meanwhile giving gig workers less work, but they'll give you a task to go pick up that $2 hot dog order with no tip out of somebody's backyard whenever the drone drops it. So DoorDash Airs calls it Toyos. So anyway, that's kind of the gist of it. The rest of it's just typical DoorDash trash, and they're saying that it's going to, reduce the delivery times. Will it? I don't know. Whatever. Time will tell. But I don't know how they're going to do this in-house, because then that means, like down here in Colorado Springs, they have this thing called Dash Mart. All you DoorDash people, I'm sure you're familiar with Dash Mart. I'm certain they have them up in Denver. Probably have several of them. Maybe they'll launch them from the Dash Marts. I don't know if that's what they're planning to do. It is a federal crime to shoot down a drone, unfortunately, Toyo. I think that's a big mistake. Particularly, they're continuing to have problems with drones that a lot of the wildfires that are going on out here in the West, that they're getting delayed because they're having to. So if you get a drone in the airspace, that aircraft has to abandon its mission. We had this happen one time when I was with search and rescue, and I was a landing officer for a helicopter that was coming in to this kid that literally slid down a mine shaft, 100 yards down a mine shaft, and had to get evacuated out. Helicopter was coming in, and he was on his final rotation. I saw out of the corner of my eye a drone up in the air. And we were having to navigate him around some high tension power lines that were behind me. So he was coming in to drop in just right between them, and then we're going to load the kid up, and he was going to go to the hospital from there. But anyway, all of a sudden I see this drone, and I'm like, abort. And so he quickly, does that. And there was a deputy that was over by me. He's like, what's going on? I said, right over there. I said, go shoot that son of a bitch out of the sky. He literally went to go get his shotgun. I'm like, dude, no. He's like, I said, just go find out who it is and get him out of the sky. And this was back in the early days where everything was still, it still is kind of Wild West with the drone programs, but these drones they're a big problem. And yeah, I know that, there's all the stuff with the, okay, they're regulated, they got their certifications, so on and so forth. And yeah, most time these are, operators that are just flying rogue, like the person that was involved in the one that I was directly involved with. These wildfire ones, they've caught people doing it. It's like a $50,000 fine. I think that $50,000 when you fly in restricted airspace. And like, I think somebody got fined, was it 40 or 50 for flying over a drone over Malargo? And because what the president was there, and so it was a restricted airspace, and so it's pretty serious if you get caught. The problem is most of the time these people don't get caught because they're not registered drones, and so they're not part of the regular program, and they can't be tracked, and there's a whole lot of different caveats to it. So I don't know, is DoorDash going to be competent enough to be able to handle these things responsibly? I don't know. With great drones comes great responsibility. We'll see what happens. And on that note, guys, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up here. I appreciate everyone tuning in to episode number 27. Steve and I will be on Thursday back for our regular show, and we're going to be recapping our 2 weeks of out there dashing for gas money, and kind of recap that. We'll have some of our normal content as well, and that'll all be 8 p.m. Eastern time as usual. And Steve's put a lot of different and new content out on his channel, so make sure to check out Rideshare Rodeo for those of you that are in here that may not have. Otherwise, once again, I appreciate y'all. Stay hydrated out there. Stay cool. Stay cool both mentally and physically. And y'all have a great night. Take care.